Are you tired of performing for other people? Are you tired of feeling like you're just constantly chasing the applause of somebody else? Even though you know that you hate pleasing people, you can't seem to help yourself from worrying and obsessing over what other people are thinking. If this is you, this is the video for you, because I'm going to help you move out of this exhaustive chase or the need to please other people and to start living in true alignment to yourself. See, in the very performative digital age that we live in, where everybody is hyper connected through social media, as an individual, let alone as a woman, it is so easy to lose yourself in the performative lifestyle that you think you need to live in order to please other people. And the reason why this happens is because social media has us obsessing and chasing after these false and unrealistic images of what our that girl lifestyle needs to be. Because of that false image, we basically morph our lives, our preferences, ourselves in order to meet that image. And even when we seem to fit that image and create that content and post those photos or go to that aesthetic cafe, we still feel empty and unfulfilled. And this simply happens because it is not actually what we want. We just think we want it. So in this video, I'm going to help you identify as a woman, firstly, what are some of the roles that you have been performing out without potentially knowing that you've been doing it. And secondly, once you know what these roles are and where they come from, I'm going to give you a tool that's going to help you liberate yourself from the need to perform. Now, a quick disclaimer, you don't wake up every day and go, I'm going to fake it today. I'm going to be the most fake version of myself. Neither does a woman wake up and go, I'm going to suppress my inner voice and disconnect from my body or hide my authentic self. No, a lot of our behaviors, our choices, and even our thought patterns are all unconsciously working to keep us in a way that is aligned to our highest beliefs. And sometimes our highest beliefs are not serving us. We might think that we want to express ourselves authentically. We might tell ourselves that we don't care what other people think. But if our highest, truest belief in our bodies is that we don't deserve to be seen as we are, or you think that if you really show yourself and all your flaws or express what you're really thinking, that people are going to leave you, not like you, or judge you, then your truest belief in your body and the state that you are carrying yourself in is that of inauthenticity. And this is where this whole thing must start. Recognizing that if you are feeling some level of disconnect or misaligned from yourself or in your life, it's likely that the authentic self and the you that your soul knows you are is not really being expressed in your outer world and in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And my goal on this channel and in this video is to help you get back into alignment with who you really are and who you are here to be. Are you ready to dive in? Let's do it. Hey, I'm Nicole and welcome to my channel. I'm a life and transformation coach for women, self-proclaimed foodie, content creator, educator, and your new YouTube bestie. I help everyday women step into more abundance, flow, and embodiment of their most authentic selves. In my world, we talk about all things to do with elevating your life. I post weekly videos helping the everyday woman embody her highest self, create inner wealth, master her mindset, unlock her femininity, and be an absolute boss in life. I create resources, trainings, and host experiences online and in person in order to help you reconnect to your true self, not the one you think you need to be, but the one you were born to be, so you can reclaim your power and amplify your voice to lead, love, and create as a woman. Whether you've been stuck in an uninspiring pattern, want to reclaim your power back, or need a new vision for your life again, if you like my vibe and you want a little bit more abundance in your life, hit subscribe to be notified whenever I drop a new episode. If you're ready to step into your next level, keep watching. Now let's get into today's video. So I personally spent a lot of my life trying to be something for someone else. Whether it was growing up trying to be the obedient one in my household so that I wouldn't get in trouble from my dad, because my brother would always get in trouble for being rowdy and actually expressing himself, or being the teacher's pet because I wanted to get good grades and to be the favorite so that I could never get in trouble from the teacher, all the way through to my first relationship where I had to be obedient to my partner. And this pattern of being obedient, being quiet, being subservient, suppressing my truth, hiding my truest expression, created a ripple effect into the rest of my life. And even as a full-grown adult right now, I use things like social media, I build my business, I meet new people every day, and I still find myself experiencing this ripple effect of needing to be this obedient good girl. And how that shows up for me is in not wanting to step on people's toes, not actually expressing what I'm feeling even if I disagree with somebody in the workplace, or putting boundaries up when clients or collaborators are asking me of things that I actually don't want to do or don't have capacity to do. This is just one of many examples that I have been living in this inauthentic pattern, and how for me this was one of the roles that I believed I had to play in order to be accepted, this good girl role. And for many women, we get into this performative way of living because that's how we know to fit in, especially in a world that is dominated by men and very masculine structures and ways of doing things. So some of the other common things that we believe and we start to perform out for the rest of our lives are things like you need to have your back just in case somebody leaves you, because you can't trust other people, you can't trust men. And this puts up such a barrier between us and other people, let alone between men who are good meaning, and even sometimes gets in the way of us being able to create and sustain lasting, deep relationships. Self-sacrifice is noble. We're very much modeled, especially as women, to be so self-sacrificial that even when we are exhausted, we must still keep sacrificing, or else that means something about us. We are taught and we act out as if silence in exchange for acceptance is the only way to be accepted. If we speak up, then we can't be accepted. And this is really perpetuated by a lot of environments like workplaces or very narcissistic relationships, where speaking up actually means that you won't be accepted or loved. That actually perpetuates for a lot of women this narrative that you need to be silent or else you won't be accepted. And so even within themselves, they can't even give themselves what they want, even if they know they need something like rest or pleasure, literally doing something nice for yourself. And to the extreme, you can't even give yourself the permission to leave or to say no in extreme situations or in toxic friendships and relationships, and you end up being taken advantage of because acceptance is far better than raising your voice. So you trade your voice for silence in order to be accepted. Another one is that you need to do everything yourself. We're really modeled this modern day hustle-driven woman who can do it all. And while this isn't all that bad, I'm all for the baddie, ambitious, boss girl energy. But what that does sometimes is it pushes us extremely to this wounded masculine place where I was for a very long time, until I burnt out and realized that I was not building my business from a place of ease, grace, and from flow and from alignment, rather from hustle and scarcity. I believe that as women, this extreme need to do it ourselves is just so toxic for us, because the reality of being a woman is that our nature is to ebb and flow. Our energy is not consistent like men. Our bodies hormonally and physiologically are not designed to reset as quickly as men. We actually need intentional periods of rest, and our hormones literally are designed to actually receive and rest and replenish, and it's on a monthly cyclical cycle. Wait, what? On a monthly cycle. And so doing it ourselves means that we get the excuse of, if I do it myself, then I don't need to be vulnerable, I don't need to rely on other people. And that is often caused by a certain sense of wounding or a past history of not being able to trust people, or having some level of fear that you are either running away from or chasing. So perhaps for me, the reason why I hustled for so long was because I was afraid that I was never going to have enough. I was afraid that I was falling behind on life timelines, on money and achievement and goals, and I was constantly needing something more, and therefore I was constantly running to pursue something. So this narrative is also one that we spend our whole lives performing as well as women. We also believe the idea that emotional vulnerability is weak. We're very much told to operate only from logic and from the mind, when the truth is our emotions, our bodies, our energy is always indicating something. In fact, there is a complementary intelligence in our emotions and in our bodies as our minds. And in the Western societies especially, we are so disconnected from this part of ourselves that when we have an emotional impulse, or when there's something in our gut that tells us we shouldn't do something, we override it every time, and it leads us to make some of the worst mistakes in our lives that we end up realizing later we should have just trusted our gut. Have you had this feeling before? If you have, you know exactly what I mean. The last one is, especially for me, sensuality is unacceptable. As a woman, even though you are literally designed to be the prowess, the fierce, the feminine, to be the one who is pursued, your sensuality is such a big aspect of your expression as a woman. Being sensual and actually attuned to your senses, attuned to smells and sights and sounds, and beautifying and romanticizing your experience of life is such a huge element of a healed and healthy feminine energy. And sometimes when we are disconnected from our sensuality, even on a body level and an expression level, on a movement level, we feel that we have no choice but to either hide behind baggy clothing or expressions that are a little bit more masculine or neutral, or we extreme over to the other end where we don't want to identify with anything feminine at all. I guess disconnect from the sensual self or the feminine expression comes from this narrative that if you are sensual, then you're causing men to stumble, or if you grew up in a very Christian or very religious conservative upbringing, this might be also part of your narrative. For me, I lived a long time performing to not be sensual, to actually be the goody church girl, and part of it was my choice because I was deep in church ministry for a long time. But when I moved out of that era of my life and I started to discover my expansion outside of just one religion and into multiple diverse ample ways of seeing life and spirituality, it began to color my lens of what sensuality really was. And it wasn't this taboo moral thing, it was my feminine expression that was so suppressed and unable to express itself. I actually ran a workshop for women recently where I was able to heal my inner child by running that workshop, and also to go through the journey in preparation for that workshop to dance sensually. I had never allowed myself to move in a way that made me feel sexy and desirable. Doing so empowered so many other women who felt disconnected from themselves and their bodies due to the things they'd gone through in their life, or perhaps their upbringing, their choices, the relationships they were in, to reconnect back to the beauty of their bodies and what it means to be sensual as a woman. I think being sensual as well is allowing yourself to have sensory experiences, to enjoy the textures of things, the smells, the sounds, and to really make your life full of color and wonder. As women, this is part of our gift to the world, and when we are appreciating the beauty of life, we are inspiring people around us and uplifting our men, our children, to actually see the world with such beauty, and therefore more gratitude, and gratitude elevating everybody's vibration and state to experience life with so much more color and wonder. Your role as a woman is not to perform, and it's not to live by all of these standards or rules or roles that I just described that are really common. It's to just be. And when you are just allowing yourself to be, so much more comes from that. So, as you know, I help women do this every single day to basically break out of their old patterns and break into new, healthy, aligned ways of living and expressing their power as a woman and their authenticity as a person. And one of the things that I love to do is teach this specific tool that across all my programs, all my courses, all my client work, I always make sure that the women I work with really understand this concept that I'm about to teach you. And this is because this concept helps you to step away from the roles that you are playing, or maybe the patterns and the beliefs that you have been in for so long, and actually observe it from a distance. And when you observe from a distance, you gain back your power. Have you ever heard the saying, awareness is power? Well, this is exactly what happened to one of my clients who actually told me that she was feeling like she constantly had this massive mountainous checklist to do every single day. And she was so stressed out and overwhelmed by it. And I remember stopping her in her tracks on that coaching call and actually confronting her about it. I said, who said you had to do this checklist? Really, ask yourself, whose voice do you hear in your head? And at first she had some trouble figuring out where was that voice coming from. And she just kept saying, I don't know. I guess it's me. I keep saying this to myself, even though I don't really have to do this mountainous checklist. Side note, she's a successful entrepreneur. And if she decided to do less on that list, nothing would blow up. Her business would be totally fine, but she just constantly made herself feel this pressure. So anyway, I got her to stop and to really tune in and to slow down the activity in her mind. And then she burst out crying. She said, oh my gosh, I think this voice is my mother's voice. And from that, wells of tears literally just fell out of her eyes. That's the weirdest way to say that. Tears and tears just streamed from her eyes because she realized that this narrative, this performative thing that she was doing of trying to just go was not actually something that she wanted to do. It was something that she thought she needed to in order to gain the love and approval of her mother. She's a full-grown adult now, and yet unconsciously in her mind and in her behavior, her state is that of a young girl who wanted to gain the approval of her very high achieving and strict mother. And so she needed to hustle always, or else she was not worthy for her mother. And I think it's helpful to ask ourselves, maybe it's an inner child narrative that we're playing out in our present lives as adults, or maybe we are adults who are basically so lost and so confused about who we are because we've never stopped to actually define what matters to me, why does it matter, and what does success even mean and look like to me. I bet you if you stop to define these things right now for yourself today, you would realize that some of the narratives and the realities that you keep playing out are actually not aligned for you and what you want in this life. Hey, if you like this video and you want to take your life to the next level, I want to help you. To help you take the first step to unlocking the life you deserve, I'm giving you free resources, workshops, and masterclasses that you can access on demand to help you elevate your life and become the best version of you. The best part is you'll have me in your corner and the support of a like-minded community around you. All you need to do is click the link below and join the free online community for women called the I Am Her Collective. Inside, we do community calls to talk about all things womanhood, dive deep into topics such as femininity, real self-love, well-being, and skills for becoming that girl. For deeper connections, relatable insights, and helpful tools, click the link below to join now. And for more videos like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and to check out the other playlists on this channel. I'll see you next time.